So growing up, my first step, as a baby, your first steps are usually walking steps. So my first steps were actually running steps. So my parents already knew automatically what sport to put me in.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. We have a special guest on with us today, none other University of Rhode Island track star Trinity Smith. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. I'm glad that you took time out of your schedule to hop on with us. For those that are listening to this episode later when you listen, it's way better on YouTube. So go check us out on YouTube and subscribe on there. Share with, we don't care who, your dog, your baby mother, share with everybody to let the algorithm know that this is great content and for it to push it out to the masses. But to start off with, as I said, you are a track star. You're at University of Rhode Island. When did you first decide that you want to run track? What drew you to the sport of track?
So growing up, my first step, as a baby, your first steps are usually walking steps. So my first steps were actually running steps. So my parents already knew automatically what sport to put me in. So at the age of 5, I started running track. I joined the Metro Eagles track club.
Wow. So at 5.
Yes.
Wow. From basically your parents knew that's what we were putting you in.
Yeah. I mean, I made my decision. I just took the first steps of running. I got up, I ran to the other side of the room and sat down. And my parents was like, what the heck? But yeah, so.
That's a dope story. We've asked people a lot about their origin story. That's the first of hearing that. I started off, literally my first step was actually running.
Yeah.
That was it. So that definitely is going to be a clip because I've never heard that story from anybody, especially with track.
Yeah.
So once you started track though, like, of course you could start off that parents would put you in sports, and we've heard plenty of times like, oh, my mom started me off in this sport, but I kind of didn't like it and I went somewhere else. What kept you in track? What do you love so much about track that you continued it to now you're in college?
I love that it's individual. I don't have to depend on no one to get me where I want to be except for God. And within the individuality of it, I love the feeling of getting better, or like, should I say the state of progression? So I love any chance that I can get better, or seeing my times and my numbers drop. It makes me like excited.
That's dope. We had Track Star on last week and was saying that the individuality, some of the best part, because you talk about the other sports. To your point, if I'm on the football field, I'm on a basketball court, I need my teammates to do their
Right.
part.
Right.
But the sports like track, tennis, bowling, golf, that's just you.
Nah, for real.
That's
It is.
literally just you.
The only team aspect of it would be in championships, because everybody got to score well in order for us to win, or in relays. Everybody got to do their part in relays. So I would say that's the only other part that involves like the team aspect of it. But everything else, like you racing, that's all on you. So it's really you and the track, you and the clock, for real.
So you started off at 5 / from birth. Who were some possible people that you looked up to in your journey to collegiate track?
I definitely looked up to my older brother. My older brother, Jarrell Smith, he played football at Bryant University, which is honestly not far from URI. It's literally like 30, 45, maybe an hour away. He was a running back, and he was very, very good at what he do. He was very good. My dad also played sports as well. In high school, he did track, baseball, and football. All my older brothers ran track as well. My 2 older brothers, they ran track as well. My other older brother, Timothy, he also played football as well, and he ran track. And yeah, I mean, those are some athletes, I guess you could say, within my family. But in terms of track, I looked up to FloJo, Allison Felix, Sonia Richard Ross. I loved her. And I loved Gail Devers.
Well, first off, shout out to the family. This is obviously
We
Whether
stacked over here.
yeah, whether it was track or whatever it was athletics was in your blood, like
Yeah.
regardless. Like shout out to Pops. Four sport athlete.
Yeah, my dad was nasty, and he also played because my dad, he's now a fire. Well, he's a captain on the fire department in New York City. But when he was younger, he used to play for the fire department football team. Like they had a New York City police versus fire department football team like game, and my dad used to play for the fire department when he was a lot younger. He don't do that no more, but yeah, my dad, he sports is in our blood for sure. He was like, you got to pick something because I'm not paying for college.
Shout out to Pops and shout out to him being a firefighter. We appreciate his service there. And
Yeah,
yeah, to your point, that's great that it's in the bloodline, it's in the family. So I'm sure you have plenty of examples of how to succeed, how to work hard, how to do, the student athlete aspect of it.
for
So
sure.
that's super dope. Now, in your process, I'm doing my history. You're doing well in high school, your numbers are good. Why did you choose URI? Was there
Um,
any other possible schools?
yeah, the other schools that were interested in me at the time were University of New Hampshire. So I archived all of, because high school pictures could be a little cringe sometimes. So you got to archive some of them. But I posted my offers, but I archived them. The other ones I had was New Hampshire, University of New Hampshire, University of Hartford, and LaSalle University. Those are the ones that offered me outside of URI, but I had interest from other schools as well. Do not remember them, but those were the ones that actually like gave me money and was actually like super interested in me. So I had those schools, but I picked URI for college because they had my major. I was interested in studying kinesiology, which is known as the movement of the body. Specifically, I wanted to go into athletic training. My host at the time, she took me to her athletic training class that they had, and I like really like fell in love with it. That like honestly kind of made me commit to the school. But outside of outside of that, Rhode Island's also a second home to my family. The proximity of it is not too far from home, but it's just enough. I wanted my parents to be able to come see me compete. And as I mentioned earlier, like, and part of it, in addition to it, being a second home, my Bryant did go to Bryant University and played football there. In terms of Rhode Island, like the A10 conference, because Rhode Island is part of the A10 conference, it's a very competitive conference. And I wanted to be able to go somewhere where I can where I'll be pushed, and where there'll be a balance of wins and losses. Because you don't want to go somewhere where you're going to take more L's than W's. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to go somewhere where there's going to be more W's than L's. You want to have a perfect balance. So you want to be able to encounter that adversity or like that competition that's going to push you to do better and hit your marks. So
That's dope. And you mentioned your major of kinesiology. Just a question, because that's a dope major and that keeps you in the athletic field. Do you have any goals or aspirations to run after college, or are you looking to just go straight into your major?
Oh no. Where the goal is to get to the next step. That's the goal. I'm trying to I'm not gonna say trying. I'm currently training with my coach. I used up my years of eligibility at URI. Last year was my last year of eligibility. But my coach still is allowing me to train with them while I'm finishing up my last year of school. Um, I got my BS in kinesiology, so I'm in my master's program right now, in education. But I'm finishing up this year, and in the process of finishing that up, he's allowing me to train with the team, because I do want to try and go sub 13 in 100 hurdles. My goal is to at least get to 1290 this season. But I want to be able to compete at the Olympic trials this year. So 1340 ain't gonna cut it. I'm gonna have to drop that time if I want to compete with the big dogs. So that's the goal for this year.
So for those that do not know, right, because a lot of people think that track is just running and it's way more than that. What is your training process like to drop your time, to try to get faster
Well,
at your specific run?
yeah, so it just incorporates a lot of like speed training. So for me specifically, when I was in college, when I was in college, when I was competing as a NCAA athlete, I was a multi-sport athlete. So I did 100 hurdles. I did the 400 hurdles as well. And I did the mixture of the open sprints. So I did the 200, the 3 when they had it. I also did the 60 here and there, not that much. But I also competed in the 4x4 to help with the 400 hurdles. So I had a lot of sprint endurance, and I also competed a lot within the hurdles. So it kind of took away from a lot of the sprints because I just did hurdle races. But this year I'm focusing more on the sprints. So I'm focusing on getting faster. So I'm going to be running the 2 a lot more, running the 60 a lot more, maybe a 400 to help with my speed endurance. So I guess you can say the main things that will help me get to that next level is working on my speed endurance, working on speed, and working on speed and speed endurance. So getting that fast twitch and being able to maintain it for those 100 hurdles and not fall off of it. In regards to hurdling, my coach is having me do a lot of like low hurdle things. So lowering the hurdle from its high hurdle height to like a notch down. That will make the hurdle low and just work on me getting over as fast as I can and running in between. So that's like another, I guess you could say, type of thing. So overall, working on speed endurance type thing. You just got to drop your time. If you want to get faster, you got to run faster in practice.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to share that with our listeners and our viewers because it's an educational piece, because it's not just running around in a circle. It's a lot of technique track that people do not really know about. You mentioned the fast twitch. Like, it's a lot of different things than just like, all right, on your mark, get set, go. That goes into that. And with you trying to, meet to the Olympics, we definitely think with all your hard work that you've done up to this point, it's only a matter of time. And we believe that, obviously, at least on this show, we support in that God will have it set up where you're actually competing in the Olympics. And we can't wait to actually see that. And it'll be like, yo, we had her on our show on the Olympics. Let's go.
For sure. And I'll be first to give y'all my experience. Y'all be the first to get my inside scoop.
We appreciate that, because this is your home podcast now.
Nah, for sure.
Don't want to come back on and talk anything. This is your home podcast.
Yeah.
Please educate our listeners and our viewers on the difference between indoor and outdoor, because you competed both indoor and outdoor. What's the biggest difference you think in your mind for indoor and outdoor track?
So I would say the difference between indoor and outdoor, there are a lot of differences, but the main one that I'll talk about is the variety of events. So the space in the indoor track is like 200 meters. So indoor is a lot smaller, and outdoor it's bigger. It's 400 meters. I don't know if you guys seen an outdoor track, it's huge. That's 400 meters. That huge circle is 400 meters. But indoor, it's half of that circle, but in a circle, if that makes sense. So that's 100 meters. But I would say the difference is there's a limit on how much you can do. Indoor, you can't have like races like the 4x1, so the 100-meter relay. You can't have the 100-meter dash. You can't have the 100-meter hurdles or the 400-meter hurdles, but outdoor you can. There are a lot more events that you can have outdoor, even with throwing, like discus and jab. Like, you can have so much more events outdoor than you can have indoor. So that's the main thing that I would say.
So now with you, sharing the difference between indoor and outdoor track, for you, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you inspired to keep going? Especially like you said, now you're training for the next level. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you inspired?
I would say my family and myself. My dad's very disciplined. He's installed that in me. And especially when it comes to sports, like if you want to get better, you got to put the work in. Like no one else is going to put the work in. And I feel like, that's how I feel. That's my philosophy in terms of, keeping myself motivated and inspired. Like if I want to be a heavy hitter, I got to believe I'm a heavy hitter. I got to put the work in. And like, that's the first step towards being successful, especially in sports. Like you got to want to do it. You got to want it. You got to want to be the greatest. You got to want to be the best. You got to want to dominate in order to get the results. If you don't want that, if you halfway in, halfway out, you're not going to get the results you want. So I feel like that's just me. Like, that's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me inspired. And like with my family supporting me and my belief in God, like the relationship I have with God and all the things that I went, like, the things that I faced, and he helped me get through it. It's like, it's written. God said you only got to ask and he'll give it to you. You just got to believe. God continue having faith of a mustard seed and he'll move that mountain. So yeah.
All dope. Again, shout out to the family for the support and for, that foundation. Without that foundation, that mindset isn't there. And the actual aspect of like they're believing in you. So that then pushes you to believe in yourself. You've seen the examples of the success. And then
Right.
of course you got God in the mix. So you're never really set up to fail. God
Right.
didn't die for us to lose. So
Right.
you're
Not
in
only that, the advice that my dad gave me, I just want to make it known, like, that just doesn't even apply to sports. That applies to everything all around. Like, a lot of people, would be like sports, 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 but my dad raised us to be very well-rounded. Like, you gotta, yes, sports is important. Yes, you want to be the greatest in sports, but what's your backup plan? That's what my parents always do to me. They're like, all right, so you want to do this, but what's your backup plan? Okay, so what's your backup plan for that? And what's your backup plan for that? And sometimes you might not know what your backup plan is, but as long as the thought of it's in your mind, like, okay, I need to make sure I have something just in case this doesn't work out. What am I going to do? So I just wanted to make that known for the educational aspect, because, we are an educational podcast.
of course, of course.
But, if one thing don't work out, you always got to have something behind it. And my something behind it is kinesiology and it's physical education, being a PE teacher. So those are and being a coach in the future. So those are my A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. But yeah.
That's dope because I was going to ask what's your backup plan, but obviously you already know what it is. You already got it set
I
out.
have an idea. We're going to see. We're going to see what God decides, because I got options. He just got to put me on the path for which one,
That's all facts. You mentioned something, as you said, with being successful. I want to ask to you because on the outside looking in, I would say you've had a successful career from middle school, high school, collegiate. Now we're speaking into existence at that next level also. But what would you define as success?
I would say success is being well-rounded in all, I'm not gonna say all aspects, but just being well-rounded within your field, like as a person, knowing a little bit here, knowing a little bit there, knowing a little bit everywhere. I mean, knowledge is power, it'll get you where you gotta go. Being able to network with people, that will get you where you gotta go. Just knowing a little bit in different areas will take you where you need to be. You just got to be willing to know that little bit, or go out and learn that little bit that you need to know. So that's what I would say what success is.
Now, if people were listening and paying attention, there's been a lot of gems that you have dropped. But if you had to say anything additional as a piece of advice to somebody that wants to compete at that collegiate level, what would that advice be from you to them?
I would say continue to work hard. It's not what you do at practice, it's what you do outside of practice that sets you a cut above the rest. And that's what I learned, especially from someone being in a sport that's so individualized. Yeah, you can kill it at practice. You can kill your reps at practice. You can do the damn thing at practice. But it's like, what you doing Saturday? What you doing Sunday? What you doing in the summer? Are you out partying, having a good time, or are you putting that work in? You know what I'm saying? And in high school, that's what my dad was trying to emphasize to me. At that time, I didn't really understand it like that, because in high school, you're like, oh, I need a break. Like, I've been running all year. Like, I need a break. But as I got closer to my senior year, I was like, dang, like, my dad's right. Like, I do need to be doing this, and this. So, like, I started doing what I needed to do over the summer, and it made a big difference. And not only that, when I got to college, doing the things that I needed to do over the summer to have me prepared to come into the season, to preseason, set me a cut above the rest. So, like, doing what you do outside of practice makes a huge difference. You have to be dedicated enough to put work in outside of practice, not just when you're at practice. You're doing what you're supposed to do when you're at practice, putting in that work. But outside of practice, what are you doing? You're supposed to be doing the same thing, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, it's okay to take your rest days here and there because, rest days are just important as workout days. But what you do outside of practice will set you a cut above the rest. Taking care of your body, going to the training room, stretching, going for a light run and warming up. It doesn't even have to be a lot. It's just like the little things. The little things matter.
Right there. The little things matter.
Yeah.
That sums it up, literally everything that you said so far. The little things matter and it adds up to the bigger things and the success. But you got to start somewhere. And like you said, what you doing outside of track, what you doing outside of the classroom, because when you're there, you're doing what you're supposed to do, obviously. You got to do the other stuff that separates you, like you said, from everybody else. Because some people, once they leave the track, once they leave their sport, they don't care. They don't think nothing about the sport.
Nope.
Till they're back in practice, till it's back to the game time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you see the separation of the consistency of, oh, they're great, and oh, they had a good run. Right. It was good. They did this, but then the next, what happened? They're not doing the outside.
Right.
The extra that people may view it as.
My dad always would say, it's the things, you got to do the things. When I was younger, he used to be like, I'm saying that like I'm not young still, but he's like, you got to do the things people don't want to do. And I'm like, damn, Dad, you're right. I do got to do the things people don't want to do. I got to put in that extra work. Like, talent, you have talent, which is good, but talent can only take you so far. You got to put in that extra work if you want to be the greatest. So my dad was very much nailed it with the hammer. I forgot how that saying goes, hammered it in with the nail, whatever. He's like, you got to do things people don't want to do if you want to reach that level. So I'm like, I love the fact my dad always challenges me. It's like, I love it.
I love the relationship you have with your dad. A lot of people have that relationship with their parents. Like you said, in high school, you don't want to hear none of it.
Yeah.
You got to your senior year, you matured and was like, all right, he's actually right. Some people at that point. So, and I know you know some of those people that they 30, 40 years old still didn't get to that maturity, to that maturity point. Again, we thank you for taking time out of your schedule. We end off the show always with what we call the fourth quarter segment, which is sort of like a fun time, fun questions, get to know you better. Number one question we always ask, no matter the guest, what is your go-to meal, your favorite thing to eat?
Oh my gosh. That question is so hard because I eat practically everything. But all right, I'm gonna say two things if that's okay. Cool. All right, so I love turkey burgers, but I love my dad's turkey burgers. Like, my turkey burgers is good, and I be telling my dad, yo, like, my turkey burger is gonna knock your turkey burgers out of the box. And he's like, never. Everybody in my family, my older brothers and my younger brother, they're like, Trent, never. But my turkey burgers are actually really good. So I love me some turkey burgers. It's a great quick meal to make, especially like on weight room days. So for example, today is weight room day for me. It's a great quick meal that I can make for myself outside after practice. It don't take that long. But my other meal that I really like is salmon. I love salmon. But that's like, you know how they be saying, Black people, there's other fish in the sea than salmon. There's other fish in the sea, but I'm sorry, like, I love me some salmon. My mom's salmon is the bomb. But yeah, so I would say salmon and turkey burgers. Don't eat it together though, but salmon and turkey burgers.
So for each of those, what do you like to have on the side?
All right, so with the turkey burgers, my dad, he'll make like, it'll be like these sweet potato fries. So I would do like sweet potato fries, or if I'm being healthy, I'll do broccoli. And like, I'll wrap the turkey burger in like a low carb wrap with broccoli. And then with the salmon, I'll do some brown rice and broccoli. I love broccoli. That's my favorite vegetable. Like, if that was a question, broccoli. You don't even got to finish the question, broccoli. But salmon, broccoli, and rice would be the dish. And then for the turkey burger, it'll be the burger with sweet potato fries or the burger with broccoli. So that's me.
Got it. Sounds good regardless. Both good. So for you, right? Obviously, what your dad has instilled in you, track is not who you are, but it's what you do. Who are you outside of track?
I would say I am a outgoing person who likes to have fun. I used to dance. I did tap ballet. Yeah, I did tap and ballet when I was younger. Like I was very much into tap and ballet. At one point I wanted to sing, but I was like, no, I will not do that. But I definitely was heavy on like the dancing thing. I can still dance. I love to dance. I actually miss dancing. I also used to act. At one point in my life, I wanted to be an actress, and I was really, really good at it. I would say I'm still good at it. Just give me some script lines, tell me when I need to be on the stage, and I'll be there. But I really do love acting. It has a special place in my heart. I also like to read. You know, when you get to college, like it's hard to read because all you're doing is getting slammed with textbooks. So I'm gonna be honest, I have not been reading for a very long time, like for enjoyment. But this past summer, I did get back into reading a book. I have not finished it yet. I kind of just got through like the first chapter of it. The name of the book is Waiting to Exhale. So I am I would guess you can say upgrading into my womanly book readings. But I saw the movie for it and my mom was like, I have the book. I was like, what, girl, give me the book. So I'm over here. I got the book in my drawer by my nightstand. I'm waiting to be finished. So that's a book that I'm currently trying to read right now. I've always been a tomboy, as y'all know, hence the sports. So when I was younger, I was into flag football. I played flag football, flag rugby. I did a little bit of basketball. I tried out for my high school lacrosse team, but that didn't work out because it conflicted with track. And I wasn't going to pick lacrosse over track because I know more about track than lacrosse. But I do feel like I would have been a great lacrosse player. I love to shop. Give me a credit card, give me a debit card, swipe, swipe, swipe. No, let me stop. I'm not going to run it up, but I do love to shop. I love clothes. I love sneakers. I do love designing. I love designing outfits and clothes. Like that's another thing about me. When I was younger, I had a lot of like fashion design books that I used to draw and like create outfits and stuff. But I never really got a chance to like expand that hobby just because of time demands with track and like school and stuff. So I would say that's another thing about me. Like I love to design clothes. I'm currently like designing a bag right now. Like my friend, she has a sewing machine. She's just transferred onto the team. And shout out to Kayla, but she just transferred onto the team. And she was like, yeah, I have a sewing machine and blah, blah. I'm like, girl, what? I'm like, the little kid in me is like, I want to try. So she's helping me make a really cool bag right now. And I'm really excited about it. So that's that. And she's like teaching me all the basics of like using a sewing machine. It's really not hard. It's just like, you just got to have time to do it for real. But yeah, I'm into that. Those are like, that's a little bit about me outside of track, I guess I can say.
Oh, you mentioned the actress part. I want to ask, what are your like favorite movies that
Oh man.
you could just watch and not get tired of?
I don't know. I could watch Friday. I love Friday. I mean, like all the Fridays, so funny. I love Friday. Even though it's a toxic ass movie, I love loving basketball. The movie's so toxic, but the movie is like, it's a great movie. But like now that I'm older, I'm like, dang, like this is toxic as hell.
Yes.
Toxic as
Very.
hell. I love like the movies that Taraji P. Henson are in. So Baby Boy is a good movie, but I love Poetic Justice. I love that movie. Taraji P. Henson, she's like one of my favorite actresses. That girl, she can act her butt off. And she's a Virgo. Shout out to all my Virgos. But I love Taraji P. Henson. So one of my favorite movies with her is I Can Do Bad All By Myself. Like she killed that role. It's a Tyler Perry movie, but that movie, I don't know, like those are some movies that I could watch and I won't get tired of. I like Stomp the Yard. That's another movie that I like. Chris Brown's in it. Let me stop. No, No, but I do love those are a few movies that I can watch. But I also, don't the little kid in me, I also watch my little Disney movies, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, those are a few movies that I like.
I can dig it. So, who are your favorite five track athletes of all time? Like, I know you mentioned some that you looked up to, but who are your favorite five?
Definitely Flojo. I love Flojo. Gail Devers, Jasmine Camacho Quinn. I love Allison Felix and Shelly Ann Fraser Price. So I grew up watching Allison and Shelly Ann Fraser Price. Like, I grew up watching them and Flojo. Like when I was younger, I was like watching. My dad used to pull up like her videos of her racing like the world record and stuff like that. And I used to get so inspired. Like I'm like, oh my God, I love Flojo. Like she's so fast. Like I used to identify myself like with her. I'm like, oh, I want to be just like her. She was one of the people that like I was really motivated to be like, because I wanted to be great just like her. And especially in track and field, but there are other people like Allison Felix, Shelly Ann Fraser Price. Like I had the opportunity to go to Worlds 2 years ago when it was in Oregon. So it was like the first time they ever hosted a World Track and Field Championship in Oregon. And I was a part of that. And I was so excited. It was me and my girl Hasna. Shout out to my girl Hasna. But we flew to Oregon and actually like encountered Shelly Ann Fraser Price. I love her. She is so bubbly. Like she's just such a great person outside of track. You can tell that she's very funny. Like I just enjoyed being around her in the 10 seconds that I was. It was very fun. Allison Felix, I love her. I love her dedication. I feel like I identify with her in the sense of like, her motivation, her strive to be the greatest. Her humbleness. I love her humbleness. God says be meek, and I really love that she's very meek. Jasmine Camacho Quinn and Gail Devers. I met Gail Devers at Worlds as well. I love her personality as well. I love how she is. I just love her, and I love also she's a hurdler. So like, of course, 100 hurdler. Jasmine Camacho Quinn. I love her as well. I haven't met her yet, but I just feel like me and her identify. Like I identify with her in the sense of like the way she the way she races. I feel like me and her have very similar race strategies, and like I just love the way she races because it makes me think of myself. So I feel like we have a lot of similarities there. But those are my favorite track athletes. I mean, of course, I have more, but those are the ones that stood out to me when I answered this question. So yeah.
Dope. That's a top five list right there. That's really good. I don't think anybody, like you said, you have more, but nobody's disagreeing with the five you just mentioned.
Yeah.
None of those are scrubs, so it's not like that's a good.
Nah.
That's a really good list right there.
And I feel like it's also kind of well-rounded in the sense of not just like athletics, but just personalities in general. Because I feel like personality is really important. Like you can be an athlete but have no personality, or you can be an athlete and just not know how to like interact with people or like just be like yourself. Because I feel like people be like, oh, like I have to not talk to my competition, or like I can't like be friends with them outside of track. And it's not that. Like you can be cool with them. You know what I'm saying? You can carry yourself in a manner where it's like you're flexible on and off. When we on the track, we serious. But when we off the track, all right, hi, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah.
So your day of you're running your races, you're doing the hurdles. What is in your musical rotation? What's your preparation like?
So I wake up in the morning, I read my daily devotional. That's the first thing that I do. That's all on my mom. Like my mom is a big influence on my spirituality. So I read my daily devotional the first thing. God, thank God that I'm up in the morning. Thank you, God, for, giving me another chance to live. I know my purpose isn't completed yet because I'm awoke. So thank you. And then after that, I get into a little bit of my gospel music, the little bit of things that just makes me feel good, but like doesn't necessarily like hype me up, but keep me calm and just level headed in my mind, knowing that today's gonna be all right because God is on my side, God's with me. And then after that, I go into, I'll eat my breakfast, get dressed for meet day, etc. And then when I'm on the bus traveling to my meet, then I usually put on my like young boy, my lotto, rod wave. And then right before I race, I'll just bask in silence. Feel like it just helps me. I feel like a lot of people always have noise going around, but sometimes it's good to just be in silence, like not listening to anything, or just you and your thoughts, or just you and listening to getting in tune with your heart rate, or like your breathing. Like, I feel like that helped me out a lot just in terms of mental stability, because listening to music sometimes right before I race, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like my heart rate be up. If I'm listening to Young Boy, my heart rate gonna be like firing off. But like, if I'm listening to like nothing, or like just basking in the silence, so I can be calm. I'll be with my thoughts, and I'll just be ready to race. Like, I'll just be like, all right, like, let's go, like locked in. So that's just how I am before my race and before my track meets.
Makes sense, because I've met athletes, I've talked to athletes, and like even her, like Russell Westbrook, he's even mentioned like either I'm not listening to anything, or I gotta listen to like a jazz or something like that.
Right.
Because once I'm there, I'm ready to compete. I got the energy. I don't need hyped
exactly.
up. So that makes complete sense, because you don't want to be overhyped, and
Right.
now you're forgetting your technique. Now you get tilted, and you don't even end up racing because you was just
right. And you gotta be focused. You gotta be focused, especially with hurdles. You got an obstacle in your way. You gotta make sure you hit that obstacle. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's important, especially like for me, to just be like, all right, let me just chill. Because I gotta be able to focus on that obstacle in my way. I gotta be able to hit that first hurdle, because that first hurdle is gonna make up the rest of my race. Like how my race outcome is gonna go. It's all dependent on my start and how I get to that first hurdle. So yeah.
So last one before we get you out of here. Again, we appreciate you being on the podcast. In your bio, you have Proverbs 3:5-6. What is the significance of that scripture to you in your life?
So Proverbs 3:5-6 states, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your understanding in all your ways. Acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. So this quote holds significance in my life, because in sports, you go through a lot of ups and downs. You go through a lot of highs and lows, but that's just the nature of sports. But throughout my career, I learned that my lows were a blessing in disguise. So that's why I have that quote in my bio, because I feel like, but not only that, I feel like not only that it does apply to sports, but it applies to life in general. Because in life, you're going to encounter lots of highs and lows. But you can't just lean on the understanding of what's going on. You just got to trust that God knows your path, and he's going to put you on the path to your goal, to your purpose, to your, the path that's going to make it straight. So everything might seem like crooked right now, but it's going to come out straight.
Great knowledge, great wisdom, great scripture. For those watching that have not read that, go read that. Actually read the whole book of Proverbs. whole lot of life application and wisdom that you can apply that will help you. As she said, highs, lows, the mids, definitely is helpful. But y'all know the vibes. If you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready.
That's what Robert said.
We out. Peace.
Yeah.